Good afternoon, I'm Sean Yao, and this is One News Now. Health experts are lauding the appointment of Dr. Maria Rosario Vergeire as officer in charge of the health department. Some believe that she is capable of being the official chief of the agency. JC Cosico with the report.
Si Dr. Rosario Vergeire, kasalukuyang pangalawang kalihim para sa Public Health Services ng DOH, ay itinalaga ng ating Pangulo bilang OIC ng departamento.
The Marcos administration has finally named who will lead the health department, well, at least for now. It's no other than Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergeire, who also served as the agency's spokesperson during the COVID-19 pandemic. Under Memorandum Circular Number 1, the OIC shall perform her duties until July 31, or until a replacement has been appointed or designated. But some ask, why was she not appointed as DOH chief?
Dun sa bakit, dahil syempre pinagpipilian pa kung sino ang magiging mamumuno sa Department of Health. Wala po kaming impormasyon dun sa ilan ang pinagpipilian.
The DOH, for its part, thanked President Marcos Jr. for the designation. The department vowed to carry on the gains of previous administration, including continuing pandemic response and providing universal healthcare to Filipinos. For former Health Chief Francisco Duque III, selecting Vergeire as OIC is a good choice. He said Vergeire has integrity and competence and is a true public servant. Former Health Chief and now Iloilo Congresswoman Janet Garin said she's confident in Vergeire's capability as the agency's officer in charge. Garin said she has worked with Vergeire before and witnessed how the new OIC rose up the ranks. The Private Hospital Association of the Philippines also welcomed Vergeire's designation.
Alam naman ni Yusek ang problems ng mga hospitals, especially government and private hospitals din. So sa amin okay lang yun.
The same goes for Octa Research Professor Ranjit Rai. Rai said Vergeire's appointment ensures that there's continuity in the agency. And despite her not being a fan of Octa, Rai said Vergeire must be shortlisted to be the next health secretary. Infectious disease expert Dr. Ronchin Solante hopes Vergeire could provide direction to the government's pandemic response and streamline processes at the DOH.
We should know what her priorities are and then what are the plans for an exit of this pandemic. We have to streamline the decision process in terms of recommendations and policies para mabilis, para hindi madidelay.
He's also confident that Vergeire can be the next health chief. While the chief executive has yet to name the health secretary, the palace says the interagency task force will continue its job to spearhead the government's pandemic response. For News 5, JC Cosico, We Are One News.
Still on Secretary or Undersecretary Vergeire's appointment, the DOH OIC says that President Bongbong Marcos wants her to prioritize improving the country's vaccine coverage. Vergeire told One News as the big story that Marcos Jr. ordered the agency to focus on ramping up vaccination of the vulnerable population and to sustain COVID-19 response efforts. On top of those, Vergeire said they are also tasked to further strengthen the country's healthcare system.
We need to be able to prevent that our healthcare system will be overwhelmed if there would be this kind of situation that the cases will continue to increase. Another one would be the healthcare workers, that he would want our healthcare workers' benefits to be provided to them, that he would be able to look into the plight of our healthcare workers in the different facilities of the country.
And in that same program, Vergeire noted that there is not much difference between the functions of a permanent secretary and an OIC. However, she admitted that because she's not the official secretary, some matters may still have to be referred to the office of the president.
Having an OIC would really have that kind of head among the different units of the Department of Health. Will always be different if there would be an OIC. We can now be able to do our policy directions. This means a lot to our personnel, that there would be somebody who can lead them and who can guide them and manage all of our processes.
One News Now will be back with more stories after this quick break. Keep it here. with the report.
Linda frequently buys puto at the Kamuning Market to pair with her coffee during breakfast. Its price, however, has gone up by 5 pesos. That's why she decided to lessen her consumption.
Magsesa na lang para matikman. Hindi mawala yung yung magic ng puto.
Retailers admit that prices of puto and other delicacies like biko are up by up to 10 pesos. Some products like bibingka and suman retain prices. Those sizes are much smaller. Retailers even cook fewer products. But despite the strategies, their income is still not enough.
Pero hindi bumibili ng marami. Kunyari, 1/4 na lang. Sa halip na kalahati. Wala nang magagawa eh. Wala rin mabili talaga eh, namura.
Adding to the burden of retailers are the rising prices of egg. At Kamuning Market, prices have increased by 25 to a peso per piece. The Agricultural Sector Alliance warns that prices could even increase by 10 to 15 pesos.
Yung 15, kung yung bird flu hindi nila masasawata. Hindi kaagad tayo magkakaroon ng sapat na supply ng itlog kasi we need at least 1.5 years bago magkaroon ng panibagong dagdag na supply.
But it's not just eggs that are seeing a price increase. Even sugar prices are going up, with white sugar now priced at up to 95 pesos a kilo. The United Sugar Producers Federation warns that there might be a price manipulation going on. The group added that while supply should not be blamed for high prices, they are still foreseeing a shortage in the next few months. For now, they are calling on the Sugar Regulatory Administration to import 100,000 metric tons of sugar.
This is only one way to tell these businessmen, yung mga retailers, na sobra-sobra na kayo. So, babagsakin natin ng murang asukal para ibaba nila yung mga presyo.
The Agriculture Department, for its part, is looking to impose SRP on sugar and egg.
Even before we come up with a suggested retail price, we will definitely have a stakeholders meeting so we can come up with the right price.
Shaila Francisco, WR1 News.
Let's now take a quick look at today's other top stories. 2 House committees are being urged to look into the alleged abuses by teachers and staff against students at the Philippine High School for the Arts. The Makabayan Bloc filed a resolution asking House panels on the welfare of children and on women and gender equality to look into the claims of abuse. The Investigation Bureau has also begun its own investigation into the matter. P3PWD Representative Rowena Guanzon has formally responded to a petition against her substitution as nominee of the party list. Among her arguments was that the TRO issued by the Supreme Court has become moot and academic since it came out after her proclamation. The petition was filed by National Youth Commission Undersecretary Ronald Cardema. And Sri Lankan President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has submitted his resignation after fleeing to Singapore on a flight from the Maldives. Celebrations broke out on the streets after his resignation, defying a citywide curfew earlier imposed by the government. Rajapaksa was forced out of position amid escalating protests over an economic crisis. For more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. Masks on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. I am Sean Yao. We are One News.